Good morning, folks. Everything new under the sun. Well, unfortunately, I have to bring this to your attention. This is kind of your news update for the morning about the things that are coming down the pipeline. And yes, COVID is one of those things coming down the pipeline. And they're gearing up for it. In the United States, they're pushing. And I think the rest of the world kind of understands what's happening, that there's significant incentive for there to be something here and to move products. AmericanMilitaryNews.com, a GOP senator, and he claimed that something was planned, and what was it planned for? Well, to do that, and likely there was a lot of money involved as well. By the way, I'm blocking text on the screen because, there's transcripts that get reviewed. But yeah, he said it was all planned by a group, and I fully expect and I believe him that there are groups there. It's all about the money. Follow the money. Why do these big things happen? Well, there's a lot of money being passed around. Why are we pushing wars around the world? Why do we continue these things on without attempting peace, coming to the peace table? Well, these forever wars create a lot of money, right? So money, 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 money. Whenever you hear anything happening by the government or happening in the world, think about, could there be someone making some money off of this thing that could provide incentive to move it along? Well, this is Breitbart.com. Biden administration, they are of course pushing ahead and looking to get every new things into everybody, and they're pushing this, and they're looking to implement the face um, uh, mandates again as well. Uh, Fauci says Americans may require to get another one to maintain protection. And Eris is the new version of this that's coming out. And they don't admit that just like every virus, um, as the virus kind of mutates or the old versions die off, it becomes more and more infectious and transmittable. But as it gets more infectious and transmittable, the lethality of it decreases. So you look at any virus in history, and its lifespan is always not very transmissible, but very lethal. And then as it moves along, that ratio changes to more and more transmissible, but it gets less and less lethal as it goes on. And so if this is following the same manner, this is going to be less lethal than, well, I'm not even going to say it because I'm just going to get another strike on the account. The last version of it that there was. Anyways, I'm just saying, people, keep your eyes open, keep your brains turned on. Recognize that there's a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying that there's zero efficacy, but what I do believe is that there are lots of other things we need to consider, health-wise, and also what could be pushing these sorts of things. So you need to question everything. In these last days, there will be more concerted efforts to confuse, deceive, hide things from the public in the name of public security, public safety, in the name of preventing civilian unrest. They do this during times of war as well, where they limit information. They put out, I can't even say the word. It rhymes with propaganda. Propaganda, if you can think of the word that I'm saying there. And this happens during time of war, where the government wants a single narrative, to keep the public cohesion there necessary to get everybody on the same page and proceed with whatever the battle is at hand. And they're treating this like a war. They've sold it as a war. Even I have a family member who told me to get this thing because we're in a war. That's what he said. And so this is the narrative. This is what they're pushing. Okay, I'm going to get away from that. So in the last days, of course, we're moving to a mark of the beast system. You've heard about it, and people speak about it. The Antichrist is going to implement some sort of mark in your right hand or your forehead. Maybe it's a scannable thing where you can prove your identity as a human, probably because there's going to be Nephilim and a demon interaction, just like there was in the days of Noah and after the flood of Noah. So there's going to be and with the advent of AI, robots, etc., there's going to be they need some way to prove that you're a human. And your social insurance number on a plastic card in your wallet is not going to suffice. And the way to do that is getting some biometric something or other, in your right hand, your forehead. And a large part of the push is because, well, AI can now steal password, not by seeing what you typed or logging what you typed, but literally listening to your keyboard and recognizing the patterns, and they can, based on assuming that the keyboard is a QWERTY keyboard, QWERTY, that's the format of most North American keyboards. They can now figure out what your password, what exactly you're typing. So all they have to do is listen, hear. And so is the microphone turned on your computer? Probably for most of us, it's on all the time and it's never muted. Unlike webcams, which have covers, or you can turn them off, or they're off generally. Likely, most of your devices are listening all the time. You'll know about this if you've encountered ads popping up on your phone after you went shopping for golf putters, as an example. So, anyways, just be aware. And Mark of the Beast is going to come into effect. Everyone will accept it readily. They will be happy to accept it unless they read their Bible, because it's going to be sold for all the right reasons: less fraud, less theft, less crime in general, and it'll be a lot smoother and easier for you to purchase things. There'll be every good reason in the book, and there is every good reason in the book to go down this route. But then once it's in evil hands and used for nefarious purposes, that's the trouble. But, I think all the world will readily accept this. And the stage will be set to readily accept it, whether it's because we're in economic collapse and absolute famine, and the government says, you know what, if you don't get this, you will not be able to travel. You will not get your food. You will not be able to go to the food bank and get, your free food or your government handouts. You need X, Y, and Z. And does not sound like something over the last number of years where if you didn't get some government mandated something, you won't be able to participate in the economy or in sports. You've heard this before, folks. I hope you have your eyes wide open. God is giving us the opportunity to say, you know what, we just went through that. I see it now. I recognize it now when this stuff comes out. Incredible. All right. Ukraine. This is another subject I can't talk about. Keywords. Many people are getting blocked. I just got taken down. One of my videos got taken down for incorrect med information, if I can say it that way. Again, I don't want to trigger keywords. But it was about, the supplement C. And I will say, don't take vitamin C. Don't take vitamin D. Go along with what the government says is what you need to be doing in a health crisis, right? If you understand what I mean and you read between the lines. So wake up, folks. Buy the books now that tell you how to be healthy. A good natural way, because ultimately at some point all the digital information is going to be gone. You won't be able to get it. So buy it in book format now. Hide it, put it in your safe, put it in your gun safe, or wherever, whatever you may have, in your basement in a fireproof container. Have it somewhere where you can pull that book out and recognize the common basic natural requirements, vitamin-wise, health-wise, that you can get from the plants around you. Pine trees, for example. Pine trees in the spring, They have the pine, I don't know what they call them, buds, but the new growth. Those are very high in vitamin C. So you can crush them, you can eat them, you can chew on them as is and eat them that way, or you can make them into a tea. These are basic things that you can do where you don't need intervention by big, P. Harma, if you know what I mean, P. Harma. You don't need interventions in those cases. Anyways, the amount of obfuscation that I need to apply to this video is insane in these last days. And it will get worse, folks. I will tell you, it will get worse. You need to read even more between the lines. You need to see the winks and the nudges and understand, read between the lines of what the government is telling you and understand what they are telling you. Listen to the government, read what they're saying, understand what they're saying. And you know what? If all else fails, take that to Jesus. It shouldn't be if all else fails. This should be take that to Jesus first thing and say, Lord, tell me what is the correct information here. All right, Ukraine. So Colonel McGregor, he tells Tucker that the war must end now. Now, is the U.S. trying to create peace there? Have they been trying over the last 2 years? They absolutely have not. Russia has offered, China has offered to bring Russia and Ukraine to the peace table, but it's always been, the U.S. has never said anything. The U.S. isn't interested in peace. They want to keep printing money, and there's huge amounts of money being made by all of the arms manufacturers, etc. I could go on. McGregor says, Ukraine is being destroyed. Population is being slaughtered. I agree. Watch like War News 247. Watch RT. And now there's misinformation and the propaganda on all sides. But pay attention to what's happening. And if there was good news, it would be all over CNN. In Ukraine, if there was good news for Ukraine, it would be all over. They would be cheering, rah rah. But the absolute lack of that and the silence tells you what you need to know about the process, the progress in Ukraine. Most Americans know nothing about Ukraine, McGregor said. If they knew anything about history in Eastern Europe, they would say, "Get out." Because wars and the blood and hatred that has been fought for over centuries is something we can't sort out. So, Americans getting involved here. Unfortunately, you like to help your friends, your neighbors, but, number one is the amount of corruption in, the particular countries there. Both. The amount of corruption. And not only that, but the U.S. admin related things specific to that country. My goodness, folks, connect the dots. Why are they still in there? What are they doing? Go to Zero Hedge, read these articles, follow these alternative media news sources. If nothing else, to understand what the other side is saying, quote unquote. And then there's often the truth is somewhere in between. The left and the right, the conservative and the liberal, small c, small l, news sources. Often the truth is somewhere in the center, maybe a little bit left or maybe a little bit right, but somewhere in the center. I'll give you that. But pay attention, folks. This is the economiccollapseblog.com. The next major war reportedly about to begin. And this is on the African continent. So they have, are there wars on every continent now? Almost, folks. Wars, rumors of wars, kingdoms against kingdoms, nations against nations. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Now we have this battle moving to Africa. So we have China, Taiwan. We have the European continent, proper European, Europe proper, whatever, battling. And now we have Africa, battle going on there. And of course, we have the Middle East battle that is always ongoing. You have wars and rumors of wars on all continents. Maybe other than North America, unless you consider, the cartels and that sort of thing. And I think civil war is likely to come to the United States. I mean, wait for 2024. What will happen when, a so-called label criminal from the left side, so-called by the left side rather, becomes president, what will happen? Folks, it is incredible. The hatred on both sides. So could there be civil war? I think that's a very valid thing to be talking about and to be prepared for. Are you prepared for that sort of thing? We've been living fat, dumb, and happy in North America. We have had no reason to have any faith in God in North America, and that's why we're going downhill and fast. All right, D-Day. D-Day has already been chosen. So this is the whole Niger-ECOWAS battle. A writer says, as I've warned my readers, leaders all over the globe seem to have come down with a really bad case of war fever. And they have no interest in stopping wars. Instead of sitting down and attempting to find solutions through diplomacy, many of our leaders seem eager to use military force to settle matters. Why? Because there's a lot of money. And it's existential. These things are existential risks to U.S. hegemony in the world, U.S. economic dominance. And they're slowly dying. All economic dominating countries do fail at some point, and the monetary system switches over to something else. Go look at your history. That same happened to Britain with the pound as the world reserve currency. So this is not uncommon if you understand your history. But what happens just as it's about to die? Well, they take you to war. This has happened all throughout history with the collapse of all monetary systems. They go to war just before it collapses because it's an existential threat to the nation, the country that is the current world, reserve currency or the world leader. And it's only when they're beaten that it switches over to whoever the new superpower is. There is no peaceful end to the war in Ukraine on the horizon. China is making preparations to invade Taiwan. And the shadow war in the Middle East could erupt into a full-blown regional conflict. A group of nations in Western Africa known as ECOWAS is preparing to invade Niger with the approval of the EU and the Biden administration. CNN is reporting that D-Day has already been chosen. So I guess the Western nations have come together and decided on a particular day, and they're going to go into Niger and do something about this. Now, you can argue both sides. Maybe this is good. Maybe they need to protect the citizens. But at the end of the day, maybe the world needs to stop getting involved, or maybe they should be involved in the way of peace and providing peace and security versus just going to war. So that's all I will say about that. That's the next battle. That's the next moneymaker. As interestingly as Ukraine-Russia seems to be winding down because Ukraine is failing, isn't it interesting that a new war is now popping up, which is going to require a lot of money probably from the West, from Europe, from France, in South Africa. So there's a never-ending war cycle, creating munitions, manufacturing, making money hand over foot. And of course, Russia's involved there and NATO's involved there. So it's another, Russia-China against NATO sort of conflict in that theater. So be prepared, folks. We are going into a time of never-ending wars, and some would easily argue that we've been in never-ending wars since World War II, and that this will continue, and that they've learned that with in the dying economies of the world, the one easy way they can make money is through war. So there's no interest in peace. And what does it say about peace in the Bible? The love of many grow cold because iniquity abounds. Because sin abounds, love grows cold. And that you could translate that to say, because the sin increases in the world, in the hearts of man, the prospect for peace decreases, and no one is interested in peace or love, because everybody wants to make money, and money ends up being, the love of money. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. So I'll end it there, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.